Hi girls, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny Penton, founder of Planner Perfect, and in today's video, I'm answering your questions. Stay tuned. Okay, you guys, I had polled and asked questions over in my fans group on Facebook, and I am now going to be answering those questions. And I really think that this is a great way, especially if you're new or you've just had some questions. I'm sure that yours will be answered here in this Q&A. And be sure to note that if you want to leave any question down below in the comments, you can do that and I will get back to you. So I brought my laptop so I can go ahead and eagerly and easily find all of the questions. So these questions kind of pertain to, some of them are for the Traveler's Notebook, some are just for the functionality of the planner. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So this is from Dory. Jenny, will we see any more B6 Slims in, out, and about? Preferably Candy, Molly, and Emma. Also, what about this size and other leathers, please? So thank you, Dory, for that question. When it comes to our B6 Slims and our out and abouts, usually we do go by what is popular and what is most loved and sells a lot. And the B6 Slims, we are adding more to the lineup, because the B6 Slim has become really popular. So if it's popular, then of course we want to be able to provide that for you. So I will keep you posted, and you might be frustrated by just the yes and no's on this and not exactly like the colors I'm going to be introducing, but we do also like to keep an element of like, hey, this is a surprise until we get real close to the release, and then we will share all of the new fun that's going to be coming. So just note that yes, we will be adding some more colors. It is popular, and we will be adding some more. And I think the B6 Slim is so fun, especially for the out and about, because it's such a great size for being out and about with it. So for sure. And Emma, which is our gray, like pebbly type of leather, I mean, it definitely has become such a favorite lately, and it's so pretty. So, Christy, can you please discuss how you track your fitness activities in your planner? Do you track it, or on your monthly planner, or yearly calendar, or a habit tracker? How do you do that and stay motivated to exercise? When it comes to how I track my fitness activities, I've actually done it in several different ways. And my biggest thing I would have to say is to make sure that you're, first of all, setting goals. So if you don't have goals and a vision, and you know exactly where you're going, and you know why you're doing it and what the perfect exercise for you is, one that's sustainable and you know that you'll do, then the tracking and following through with that will just really become easy and not as much as a necessity to check off. Again, it's the same kind of thinking when it comes to like the method. Now, when it comes to diet, and if you're trying to do an elimination thing and figure out what works for you and what doesn't, that's kind of different. So you're asking about fitness, and for me, I always worked heavy in my goals section, and that could be, it's usually in the month that I decide I'm going to like change it up or begin, and it'll be in my monthly planner in my goals section, and I'll really decide, you know, why I'm doing it, what I'm doing. And I've even then had to pull it for a little while because that stress on my body wasn't working for me at that time, where I was doing extra, you know, I've tried weightlifting for a while, just as of late, and that just was too stressful on my body, because stress is still stress. And when I'm in kind of a healing, or if you're kind of in a healing journey, you want to be careful that you're not overdoing it at all. And I definitely was. And a lot of my other parts of my body, other parts of my life was also kind of under stressful type of situations. And so I needed to make sure that I was either just walking the dog, or do something like that. So I would switch off to that. So that's why getting in your goals and knowing why, and for trying it for 1 month, makes it just so cool. So like right now, if you just did it for just 1 month and said, okay, for this month, I am going to walk for 20 minutes every morning. And once you get all that down, it honestly just takes you doing it like the Nike slogan, and just doing it before you kind of get that momentum. And so it's going to be a fight, because your mind is going to want to resist going in the first place. But I just encourage you to go, just do it. And then once you get one down under your belt, you're going to be already motivated for the next one. So then what happens is, in my planner, then I am just always writing, okay, I'm up at 6 a.m., 8 a.m. I'm taking a walk. And it's just part of your routine. You just incorporate it then into your daily routines. And like I said too, being introspective on your life is like key. And Planner Perfect and its method really sets a woman up for that, because when you start to really script a life that you love with detail, you have no choice but to be introspective, because what you're about to write is so in detail. Like, either you're going to be like, yes, 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 or you're going to be like, wait, do I even want to do this? You know what I mean? Like, because you're really being real. You're starting to really visualize it out. You're really like, does this even work? Is this the right time? Is this the right time slot? Is this, you know what I'm saying? So each month you can kind of reevaluate, hey, this is really working for me. I feel great. These are the things that are going on. Then you could journal about it. That's kind of the things that I do. And then I get back over into, it's basically starts with my goals. And then I just incorporate that new goal that I have in my daily planning. And sometimes I can have a big rough start with actually getting it going, but then I just do it, and then I've got that momentum. Other times I found that if I find that I just am not motivated and I'm just not doing it, then it's time to be introspective and find out why. I'm always like, figure out why you're not doing it in the first place. Maybe you shouldn't be saying you're going to be a runner right away. Maybe you should just be walking. It's just one of those kind of things that, why am I not doing this? Why is this hard? That's the kind of introspection that is needed for a woman that's going to be living a life that is growing and just being successful in all that you're doing. So take all of that in consideration. I think you're going to find that a big, huge plus. I think sometimes we feel like we need all these trackers and like that's the motivation piece. It's really not. It's just more of a chore that you got to do, because honestly and ultimately, when you begin a goal and you begin this fitness thing, it's all your mindset, and then you get all that down on paper. And when you get it on paper, your mind gets lit up because of all the details, and then you're starting to see yourself doing it, and you're getting to see yourself maybe at a lower weight or more of a fit, you're more fit, and you're starting to really get jazzed about it. And that's really all the motivation that you'll need. Anything else other than that is a chore and a mundane check off task that is just going to add to more of your misery, because you're not, let's say you're not doing it. So then you start to throw out the bathwater, and then you start to eat Doritos because you're like, well, obviously this isn't working, and you start to go in a downward spiral because you've put everything into, maybe setting out a habit tracker, and you're logging how much water, and just start incorporating your health goals. Start with goals and then incorporating them into your pillars, your AM and evening routines, and get yourself a rhythm. That's going to help you stick to your new fitness routine. It always has for me, and I know it will for you. That's how I use it with the method. We have Stephanie. Is Leilani Caramel still come in the mix in the future? Not as of yet. That leather was, that's why we substituted it with the other caramel that has come out. This one was harder to gain, but I'm still trying to get it. If you want, you can also let me know down below which one you would prefer. If you don't like that one caramel floral that we have already, or if you like the look of the Leilani line. So just let me know what for sure, if you want me to still kind of pursue that, because once I heard I couldn't, I stopped pursuing, but I can definitely continue pursuing it. Will the Leilani Mulberry come out in A5, both varieties? Maybe. That takes that for right now. I really can't give you that information, but I do know for sure, I'm almost positive that the next big hit of releases of restocks that are coming here late spring or mid spring, it probably won't be in that one, but definitely will be looking at that for future, because I know that Leilani is very well loved. Would you consider, and this is from Susan, posting snapshots of your planner pages for inspiration? Of course, and I'll make sure that I do it more. Sherry, Jenny, you talked about possibly a Stalogy 365, a 5-year paper type pending in A5. Is that still on the table? Yeah, it is. I was looking for, and I just like to tell you my dreams way early in advance, but I was going to actually emulate the Stalogy just as journal, a fun, different type of journal that would completely have my artwork on it. This is still my goal, still looking into it, and we'll let you know as it unfolds. But yes, that's definitely, I just wanted a journal with my artwork on it, and you know, Planner Perfect on the inside, and that kind of really thin, like Bible paper. I'm looking all into that still. Yes. Deborah, how would you like to do a bake with me video where you tell us the recipe earlier in the week so that we could go and buy the ingredients and then we could bake with you during the video? Love it. Would that be just too impractical? I know that I would love it. Right now, I don't bake anything because I'm no white sugar, no white flour person. Yet you come up with amazing baked goods on a healthy eating lifestyle. I'd love to feel confident I could too. I'm basically pegan, which is, you know, you're half pegan, half paleo or whatever, but you feel so limited. You know, Deborah, I can't agree with you more. I think that I have definitely brought that back, but again, baking is a big part of me, but just because I have so many kids, and then I get real serious about the flour I'm using so that if there's gut issues, that it won't give my kids gut issues. There has been so much experimentation going on that it's really been remarkable, because my Blaine and my Bella, who can see noticeable changes on whether or not they eat like flour products outside of the home or when they eat the heritage flour at home, the ancient grain, and they can tell a huge difference. Now for me, I did try a little bit of what I baked, and I could definitely tell a difference. I don't like it in my system right now, not in the journey part that I'm in. So I really don't eat bread either. White flour, not even whole grain. I'm very much so pretty paleo for sure. But I still love doing it, and I still love experimenting doing it because I have a husband to bake for and to make for. I know that a lot of men, they just light up. Like my husband will walk and he's like, what? Like, what? This is, you made this? You're a superstar. I'm like, what? Say it again. Don't stop. When I mean don't stop, just don't stop. And he's just so sweet. And then of course my sons, I told you I'm a superstar at home. I'm a superstar. They're like, Mom, you know. And I get real, because for my kids, I mean, I really am so food prepped so that all of this really comes easy, because when it comes to eating really clean and healthy, you know, even for your kids, you've really got to be on top of it. So I would cook rice in advance so I could make them fried rice. I would get hamburger patties that are grass fed already so that I could just whip out hamburgers. I make my own hamburger buns and bake them in advance and freeze so that they can have that instead of any kind of crap in the store. So it takes some time on a one big full baking day, but oh so worth it. And yeah, I'll totally think about how I can incorporate that on a day that we can kind of do that together and see how we love it. I think that would be so fun, Deborah. And then you have one more question. What exactly do you follow in terms of a diet? Well, there, I think I really kind of did answer that for you. How did you find out which foods you were sensitive to? I'd really love for you to share your whole food plan discovery journal. I'm going to save that discovery. I definitely will be sharing that on a separate video, but I do know that I went through very extensive testing. I will say it cost me a lot of money. But I knew that it was really worth it for me. So I have tinnitus and I've got uveitis, and I was diagnosed with that since I was in my 20s. And so I, just being 51 now, I really wanted to heal my body. And I know that my body can heal, and that these are just things that are going on because my body is not able to correct itself. And so I went through a ton of testing, but it was very, 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 very enlightening. And I'd have to say it was quite the savior. I do take quite a bit of supplements, and I had to really change my diet, hence the paleo. I had to take out gluten. I had 3 of the 4 alleles. I took a gluten that was also very, very, that was not inexpensive. That was very expensive, that test. But I have 3 of the alleles for gluten sensitivity. I think it's like non-celiac gluten sensitivity. But I definitely am. I have 3 out of the 4, so I definitely am. That means my mom passed it down, and it means my dad passed it down. And if I have more than 1, which I have 3 positive results, then that means that each of my children definitely have at least 1. And if they have a health issue, then that's a huge component to what they need to remove in order to heal. So that's why gluten has been really out for some of my kids that need it. And also why I've introduced a little bit of the heritage. And it was really hard for me because Blaine, who is a big one that I'm watching, and my Bella, who's 19, she's easier. But for Blaine, I remember he was a little too protein heavy because it was, it's not like he loves to eat kale. And so I would give him potatoes and things like that, but he was so bored. And as a kid, this is just killer for him. I could see it. But he was almost like he had no energy. He was almost like he was keto, and that was not my intention. It was almost like he was really protein heavy, and it was really affecting his whole life. And so I had to incorporate more. I added some rice to his diet. I added the heritage grains, and he's really been thriving so far. And this is where I can see where he's fine at home and he eats like my hamburger buns on a hamburger that I make for him, versus if he had a hamburger bun out, at someplace else, he gets ill. I mean, literally ill. And so it's been very, very eye-opening. And so I like to keep my family clean and paleo, only use heritage flour only. They do have pasta, and so that's what we use for pasta if I do my spaghetti. But I do stay away from all of it. I'm just at a point in my life where I'm older, I'm a big girl, and I'm just dead serious. I'm just like, I won't play. I'm like, I don't need bread that bad, okay? It's just like, right now I want to get beyond what I'm doing so that I can, and even I'm making sourdough, because with that, you're instead of a monobacteria, you've got more a multi-complex bacteria in your yeast when you do sourdough, and there's that long fermentation time really helps reduce the gluten. And so I'm really into that too as well. And I got my I've got that brewing and my yeast going, and it's doing so well. So I'm going to share more as I go, and that'll be a big video. Where do you start? Here's another one of Rubla. Sorry if I ruined that name. Where do you start on food elimination and tracking that in your planner? Definitely, you could. I always did it in my journal. So like, my journal that comes in the box every month, that's where I would be like, okay, food journal. And then I would just throw in my gratitude the next day. And then I would go back into like, okay, this is what I ate today. This is when I found that I didn't feel so good, or my energy was here. And I would really, 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 really track it and figure things out, and stuff like that. I also would have to say that a big component that did really save my life is going to a neck doctor, because my neck had severe problems. And so by fixing that, I've been so much better. It's like unreal. Number one, my sleep's 100% better. I used to I didn't even know I had insomnia till I didn't have it. And so like, I was always one that was kind of up a lot in the middle of the night. Whereas now I go to sleep at 10, I wake up at 6, and I never woke up one time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even remember. I'm like dreaming. I used to never dream. My sleep has improved by fixing my neck. And so, when you kind of cover all your bases and you kind of really start, it's like my body couldn't handle it anymore. All the stress, all the kids I had, all the stress I had, all of this, eating, not being careful about the foods I was putting into my body. And then you got environmental toxins, and you got hairspray. My body was like, I'm done. And it was tapped out in those issues. And so I'm here to give it another shot in the arm and to completely reboot my immune system so I can live to 130, because that's what I decided. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? So, and I don't make it fancy in my track planning. I'm brain dumping it out. And that's all that your mind really needs. You know what I mean? When you say, okay, I ate this and I felt this way, you're just kind of really wanting that brain expel so that it's not sitting in there and it's somewhere, because very rarely did I even have to go back per se. But if you needed to go back, just make it more organized. So like at least by page by day. So it's pretty easy to do, and that's what I do, and it works like wonders. Okay, Christine, I was wondering if the laser engraved daisy design will be available in summer leather and size narrow. Narrow, believe it or not, is not one of our popular sizes. So I will have to see. That's something that I have to see about. Though I do love me a narrow. Let me tell you something. I always find that narrows are like for journaling, yet they don't open up very wide. I just love their squattiness, and it just, the way you hold it, it just can get fat, and like, I love it. Anyway, Gina, I'm holding on a new leather to see if anything new comes out, specifically B6 slim color in a pocket size. Is there projected drops that will be happening anytime soon? I would say late April, early May, I think is when we'll get them in the store. And pocket size is still in the works. So that one probably won't be available till latter part of the year, but it is planning on dropping this year. Marie, I don't subscribe to the box, wondering when the items on the box go live on the site. They go live about a week after the box hits everyone's homes. So if it ships mid-month, then more towards definitely the end of the month before those prints will be available. Are you still looking into Tomo River paper option? I would only do something like that in that Stalogy looking one. So that was what my idea for that was. Never would I ever have that in any of my planning ones aside from that one. And then there was this really cool denim vintage looking leather sample I tested. Yeah, I haven't looked. The denim one was a cool one. I know exactly what you're talking about. That one is it's just put aside for right now. I have a navy that's releasing. I only want to really do new colors, not like a huge plethora. Plus we have our bags and slim crossbodies coming. So they're on standby, but those will always be, you know, revisited. Any sneak peeks for the new leather colors or options that you can share? But other than the navy, that is it for right now. I have a lot of projects coming that are coming to the store. And I think, I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't think other than the navy right at this moment. Lind is my maiden name. So will you see the passport size and tan covers from PP? I don't know about that. I don't know about that yet, but I do think that would be pretty freaking cool, honestly. So I honestly would love that. And it's just something that, you know, first things first, but definitely putting a pin in that. Shauna, will the personal size come out in more leathers? Yeah, it will. Will the engraved daisy be offered in out and about TNs? Maybe. Like I answered that one up above. And again, I'm not really sure if we had ordered that one. I honestly don't. I don't really know for sure. I don't know. And I don't know if it is coming in the out and about. So I don't think it is. But as we draw closer to mid-spring, you will definitely know. I'll leave it at that. Rook, I was wondering if Jenny knows which size products sell the most. Definitely wides and A5s right now. Personals are pretty doing okay, and B6 Slim is like really hot right now. So those are the favorites. Yeah. B6 is good too. Gayla, we love all your leathers, planners, and system for so many life-changing reasons. I love hearing you inspire most of all. Last time when you were talking about how our overall life should be easy, not to mean we shouldn't work harder than anyone else, but that it should be for an end we want more than anything. Definitely will elaborate more on that in another video for sure. But yeah, I did express that because I think a lot of times we major in a lot of minor things. I think that we feel like we have to do this way or live this way or achieve this when really we're not doing anything. We're just kind of going around in a hamster wheel. I think once we really get acclimated to knowing and understanding how to truly live a life that is intentional and is purposeful and actually moving the needle to become more and more and growing and growing and growing and really leaving a mark on the world, you can then see that your everyday life contributes to that end goal. And so when you're really working towards things that you love and that you're working in a life that you've created because you've scripted it out so, and you're going towards something every day, then life really becomes a joy because you've written and scripted and created and you're writing out a life that you really want to live. So it's not like, because that's where the to-do list gets real hairy, because it's like, you know, when you live off of a to-do list, you're leaving your whole life out. So there's no meaning behind those to-dos. But when you incorporate to-dos in more of a detailed scripted way, you now are creating a vision board, so to speak, for everything that you want to do and accomplish. And so that's that's a game changer. It also creates introspection, like we talked about previously, that where you may find that maybe half the things you're doing, you should not be even doing. I mean, I always am doing it. I'm like, you know, how can I get this off my plate? Like, it's got to get done. But like, I don't want to do it. I'll even go and look at all of the things that really stress me out. And they can be so minor, but to me, they're huge. It's like, if I have to look at this one more time, you know, and I will definitely do something for someone else to take it off my plate. And that alleviates my stress instead of, you know, barreling through it or feel like I've got to hustle through that or why, you know. So I'm always using introspection. And when you do that, you're definitely living a life that you love on a daily basis, and you're having a really good time being stretched, going through some growing, and you are leveling up, basically. That's your goal. I mean, you want to level up in life. You don't want to stay stagnant. And if you're stagnant, there's just no growth. And so, and you know, everything is always moving. So either you're going forward or you're just going back. And you definitely don't want to go back. And so that's what I really encourage and inspire women to do. And that is, when you really take a good look at your life, your life and what you're doing and how you're living and the goals you're going after should be easy, beautiful, and rewarding and fun. It should not be anything where you are hustling and hate everything that you're doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. The mindset should definitely be, and the mindset follows a scripted life, quite frankly. So it doesn't come before or after. I mean, if once I get something out of my head that I want to pursue, then I get kicked into my drive. That's when my drive gear gets kicked in. Because before then, I'm just kind of neutral, and anybody could probably talk me out of it. But when I start getting into my goals, and when I start breaking those out, and I start going for them, then it's an easy busy, and it's something that busy I know that I'm pursuing is moving the needle. You know, if I ever feel like I'm going around and around and around and I'm not moving forward, then I know I got to make huge changes. So when you go to you know, when you're planning your life and all that, you're going to make some, you know, you're going to make some flip-flops, you know, you're going to go for something and decide you don't want to, and then go back, and then maybe go back to it and go back and forth and back and forth. And I used to think, because I was really notorious for doing stuff like that, like, wow, you know, or my husband's like, man, you're obsessive. I mean, you're obsessed this way, that you're obsessed that way. I'm like, I know, but it's part of my process. It's part of my process. It's like, this works, this doesn't. Maybe this does work. Okay, it doesn't. But when I know, man, I know. You know, it's like when I know, because I've been there and I've done that about 5 times. So now I definitely know. And I think that there's a lot of variables and things are complicated. And I don't want you to ever think that because, you know, you're not making this straight line somewhere that you're not succeeding. You most definitely are. You've got of course, I like to look at it as, you know, you've got your sights set, and you may wiggle all the way up there, but you're still going there. And that's what matters. And all of that journey information is going to just make you wiser, so that when you reach your destination, you're prepared. And it's all a part of it, and it needs to be a part of it. I mean, you're never going to be at one level and just hit another level. And you've got to make sure you're only going to be leveled up if God feels that you're prepared for it. And if you weren't, you would definitely lose it. And that's not what you want. And so you've got to gain clarity. You've got to understand yourself. You've got to grow up. You've got to learn to forgive. You got to learn how to love. And there's a lot of things you got to learn before you really can level up, and level up God's way. And when you level up God's way, there's nothing stopping you whatsoever, and you will never lose it. And it's eternal. It's just something that it takes you, you're running that race, and God's going to make sure you get there. So just enjoy it and have fun and have the introspection, and know that flip-flopping and going back and forth and is part of the journey of getting there. And that means you're doing something right. So you're not listening to just someone that you heard on the internet and just that's what you're doing. You're going back and forth, and you're figuring things out, and you're understanding some things, and you're figuring out for you. So like, you actually have that experience. You know what works personally, and you know what doesn't work personally. And that's really what it's a big part of leveling up and reaching your goals and dreams. And it'll be fun, and it can be frustrating, and you can fall down, but you got to just dust yourself off, and then you start again. Me, I actually, when challenges hit, which sometimes I feel like they're like left and right, front and back, sideways and below. Okay. And I'm like, whoa, you know, it's going to be a hard one to pick myself up from, but I know that God will always rescue me. And so that's all the confidence I need. It's like, God, you got this. I know I don't right now, but I know you do. And that's all I need. You know, that's all I need. It means I got to get up and keep moving, because God said he's going to do it. So let's go. So we'll do a whole other one on that. That was a good little tidbit, but I will tell you, I will definitely do more on setting goals and leveling up and doing things that you love, because that's how life should be lived, by living and doing things and attaining your goals and having a lot of fun doing it. That's the whole point. Straps, I beg you, Sherry, it's totally coming. I did a little video already. I have a plethora of different straps coming with the bags, and I cannot wait. They are dropping mid-March. So woo, woo, they're beautiful. I can't wait to do just a sole video on that. And an update on that Daisy Easy Tote. After going through a lot of trial runs with the Daisy on the tote, the only one that I'm going to have a Daisy on is Molly. The rest of the colors that are coming out will not have the Daisy, because it doesn't show up good enough. So when they lasered Molly, the white was behind it. And so it's gorgeous. But with the other colors, it was very monotone, and I didn't really care for that. So I'm carrying the Easy Tote, but Molly will be the only one with the Daisy, and she's impeccable. She's definitely a star. So anyway, that's just a side note, because she's coming too in probably summer. Where did you get your sourdough jar? From sourhouse.com, and I got a tip off from just a friend off Instagram. And I've never been more thankful, because my house, I was like putting it above the fireplace, up in my laundry room, changing it around all the time, putting it in a lit oven, and it would die. It would literally die. And so, yeah, I'm excited because this sucker is just thriving because it keeps it at the right temperature. So my sourdough starter house comes with a little dome and has a little warmer underneath, and it keeps it at the perfect temperature for sourdough 24 hours a day. When is the, let's see. Okay. Can you customize the pages in your journal in the subscription box? No, you cannot. That would be way too difficult for us to keep up with. So we can't do that, unfortunately. Sarah, I have 3 questions. Any plans on offering Monday start? Not at this time. 6-month planners and the monthly planner, no, I can't at this time. I love having our weekends together in the same line. Would be thrilled with that. I know that sounds really great, but not at this time. And I don't know about the future, so I just don't know yet. I don't know. I know I've had a few people ask me about that, but I know it is pretty standard to start with Sunday, but I totally get it. By having that weekend together makes sense to me too. So, stay tuned, because I never, and I mean never, I never say never. I think we're nearing an end. Yeah, the last one was me saying I'll be on tonight. Girls, I hope that you loved this video. If you've got any more questions, go ahead and put them down below, because then I can use them to curate some more videos and answer your questions for you. If they're quick and simple, you can leave them down there and I will answer them down below. I know sometimes I don't get to some of my YouTube videos, but when you're asking me a question like that, I will definitely, on this one, I will definitely get back in there and I can quickly answer you. But sometimes they could be just more where it takes another video, and I can definitely do that. So that would be really great and helpful. So be sure to like to subscribe if you're new to Planner Perfect. This is a great place for you to get inspired on how to live a life that you love. And we offer beautiful planning products that are customizable, that will really inspire you to write a better story. Until next time, you guys, bye.